Humans have been on Earth a ridiculously long time. Long enough to invent fire, agriculture, TikTok, and of course religion. We've had so many cultures, historic and prehistoric, that trying to catalog them all would make Wikipedia cry. Entire books exist on prehistoric religions, and that's before you even peek into the heavy hitters like Hinduism, which is basically the Marvel Cinematic Universe of belief systems, endless characters, spin-offs, and lore. This series is going to take an academic dive into religion. I do have a religion myself, but I'm parking that at the door. My goal is not to convert, convince, or condemn. It's to explain religions of the world from a scholarly perspective. An academic approach matters because it helps us see religion not just as personal belief, but as a powerful cultural force that has shaped societies, politics, art, and even how we define ourselves as humans. The word religion comes from the Latin word religio, which means the feeling you get when you think something bigger and scarier is in the room, whether that's a god, a ghost, or your mom after she finds out you borrowed her car. Western cultures then slap their own label on it, a tidy package of beliefs about gods that double as a moral handbook. Cute idea, but it falls apart once you realize not every religion gives a flying incense stick about your morals. Take Jainism or certain flavors of Buddhism, for example. They technically acknowledge gods exist, but those gods are like deadbeat landlords, always around, never lifting a finger to help. And honestly, most religions in human history weren't about morals at all. Forget kindness to your neighbor. People were way more worried about pissing off the wrong spirit, bargaining with gods like they're used car salesmen, or bribing demons so their goats survived the winter. Moral systems? That was a rare DLC upgrade. The Hebrews, though, were one of the ones that flipped the script. Their God wasn't just about sacrifices. He was the original do the right thing guy. Zoroastrianism followed with its own good versus evil moral drama, and eventually Christianity and Islam picked up and carried the torch too. Buddhism and Hinduism also went global, layering in ethics and universal appeal. This is why today so many people automatically equate religion with morality. But let's be clear, that's not the norm. For most of history, religion and morality weren't the same thing. Enter Paul Tillich, a Christian theologian who decided religion is basically whatever is your ultimate concern. Translation, whatever keeps you up at night, whatever you throw down for in a bar fight, that's your religion. Take it a step further and suddenly anything can qualify. Wave a flag hard enough? Congrats, your religion is now patriotism. Obsess over your family like they're the Kardashians of your personal universe? Boom! Family worship. Tillich's definition is like Oprah handing out religions. Of course, Tillich's take can get pretty philosophical, like let's sit around in turtlenecks and argue until sunrise, which is frankly way too deep for this podcast. Then along comes William James, the philosopher who decided trying to define religion once and for all was basically like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall. In his book, The Varieties of Religious Experience, he said, look, there are way too many definitions floating around. Religion isn't one thing, it's a collective label for a whole chaotic buffet of human weirdness. James broke it down like this. In the broadest sense, religion is the belief that there's some unseen cosmic order and that your ultimate goal in life is to get in line with it. Or, in modern terms, life is a group project and the universe is the teacher who refuses to give you clear instructions. So here's how I picked the religions for this series. Out of the hundreds out there, the ones that made the cut usually check a few boxes. 1, they have some kind of hotline to the unseen world, spirits, ancestors, gods, demons, you take your pick. If you don't have at least one spooky, invisible friend, are you even trying? 2. It cooks up a solid set of myths and rituals. You'll need stories about the unseen world and a few ceremonies to keep the slaves, followers, engaged. Bonus points if it involves incense, chanting, or sacrificing. 3. Organization. That means temples, priests, sacred texts. Nothing says legitimacy like a guy in robes telling you what the invisible deity or deities want. 4. It has a plan for the afterlife. Shadowy underworld? Check. Cloud palace, heaven, or fire pit, hell? Double check. Maybe a little reincarnation on the side. Whatever it is, people want to know what happens when the lights go out. 5. Does it create a moral code? You know, the do's and don'ts list, because apparently humans need a divine, no, seriously, don't murder people memo. 6. Has it grown a fan base? It doesn't matter if it's huge now or peaked 2,000 years ago. You need followers. The bigger, the better. Nobody wants to join a religion with just 3 dudes and a goat. Now, since there are more religions out there than disappointing reboots, we need a way to organize them. And trust me, there are options. We should sort them by how they shape the societies that hosted them, or by their worship styles. Do they burn incense, bang drums, or do they just sit in silence, trying not to think about lunch? We could compare them by lining them up like Pokemon cards to see who's got the weirdest take on sin, salvation, or the number of gods allowed per household. Or we could just stick to straight history and track how each faith reshaped the nations it touched. In this series, we're doing a mashup of all of the above. Simple enough, but also thorough enough so you won't sound like a total idiot in a dinner party philosophical debate. And for each religion, we're asking for big questions. The kind of questions every cult leader, prophet, or spiritual startup eventually has to answer. 1. What culture actually produced this thing? Because spoiler alert, religions don't appear out of thin air. 2. If there was a founder, who were they, and what midlife crisis or historical chaos convinced them to start a new religion? 3. If there are scriptures or sacred texts, what's actually in them? Are they cosmic wisdom or just the ancient version of terms and conditions? 4. How did this religion evolve over time? Because no faith stays the same forever. Eventually, they all get rebranded, franchised, or split into feuding denominations. Whenever you find people, you'll find religion. It's basically humanity's default setting. Sometimes it's loud and obnoxious, like cathedrals, pyramids, and temples so big they scream, "Look how much money we burned for the gods." Other times, religion is sneakier, harder to pin down, but trust me, it's there. From the glittering chaos of global capitals to the most remote corners of nowhere, people have been busy building monuments, carving stones, or stacking rocks in ways that say, "We definitely had better things to do, but the gods needed this." And when you roll back the clock to prehistoric times, same story. Altars, cave paintings, burials with grave goods. It's like the ancient version of, "We're not sure what happens after death, but just in case, here's a spear, some beads, and a snack for the road." The point is, nothing shows up in human culture more consistently than religion. Not fashion trends, not memes, not even bread. The universal obsession, searching for gods, spirits, or something bigger than ourselves. Sometimes for comfort, sometimes out of fear, and sometimes, honestly, just to explain why thunder sounds so damn scary. Thanks for listening.